Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors are looking to make some serious moves to improve their roster and will need to offload some talented players, such as Moody. The Warriors are interested in Herb Jones from the Pelicans and are looking to trade him for Moody. It has been a slow offseason thus far for the Golden State Warriors as they have yet to make a move in free agency. Golden State started their offseason in the 2025 NBA draft where they selected Alex Tui and Will Richard in the second round, but those are the only additions to their roster thus far. Of course, many expected the Warriors to be active in free agency and the trade market to upgrade their roster around their star trio of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, but that has not been the case thus far. Advertisement. Despite this, they still have time to upgrade their roster this summer and compete for a championship next season. With the lack of moves by the Warriors thus far, trade rumors have begun to heat up, and GSW Ball Report on X recently released a mock trade that would land them Herbert Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans. In the trade, the Warriors would send Moody, Tracy Jackson-Davis and a first-round pick in 2027 and 2029 to the Pelicans for Jones. This would be a massive move by the Warriors, but also a risky one, as they would send away two young players and draft capital for Jones, who has dealt with multiple injuries during his NBA career. Despite this, adding Jones to the roster would be a massive boost for Golden State due to his defensive abilities, and he is also a great scorer that would fit well next to Curry and Butler. Last season, the 26-year-old forward averaged 10.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, 3.3 assists and 1.9 steals per game while shooting 43.6% from the field and 30.6% from three-point range. Of course, Jones played in only 20 games last season due to injury, but he is a great scorer and an elite defender when he is healthy that could help the Warriors compete for a title next season while also being a piece to build around after their stars retire. Golden State Warriors could be traded first-round draft selection who has been compared to Derek White. Instead of trading for Derek White, the Golden State Warriors could end up with a younger version. The Boston Celtics sell-off had pretty much every player on the roster linked with moves away. One of these was Derek White, who was linked to the Warriors. Golden State have probably missed out now, with the Celtics cutting salary with the exits of Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Luke Kornet. White remains with Boston, while Golden State might end up with a young player who has been compared to the Celtics star. Golden State Warriors offered Devin Carter. The Golden State Warriors are fielding trade interest from the Sacramento Kings, who want to sign Jonathan Kuminga. NBC Sports reports that the Kings' offer to the Warriors will include Devin Carter, their first-round pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, taken number 13 overall. An injury-delayed start to the season saw Carter play only 36 times in his rookie year, scoring his first NBA points in his second-ever game, against the Warriors. Carter was tasked with defending Stephen Curry, and explained his experience in his post-game interview, not to let him shoot. That was honestly all I was thinking about. Our game plan is not to let him catch the ball. Monty McNair was the Kings' general manager who selected Carter, and he has subsequently left the franchise to take up a new role with the LA Clippers. But after taking Carter, McNair expressed what he liked about him, telling NBC, "For sure the first thing that jumps off the film with Devin is just how hard he plays. I think that shows up in the box score and some of the stats. Basketball's about the ball, and Devin goes and gets the ball. Missed shot, he goes and gets it. Loose ball, he goes and gets it. He takes it from the other team and then he goes and puts it in the other basket." Devin Carter was compared to Derek White. Devin Carter's pre-draft NBA player comparison was Derek White, as explained in NBA.com's Prospects Guide. Given his shooting numbers, explosiveness on defense and ability to spark the team out of nowhere, he has drawn comparisons to Derek White. It wouldn't be surprising if his career follows a similar trajectory, starting as a defensive-minded guard and working his way to becoming an elite two-way player who can start for almost any team in the league. Carter's dad is Anthony Carter, who works for the Memphis Grizzlies, and previously played in the NBA for the Heat, Timberwolves, and Nuggets among others. Only 23 years old, the guard would be an interesting player for the Warriors to acquire in trade, but the overall package has to be worth giving up Kuminga for. Warriors' Jonathan Kuminga decision apparently hinges on another veteran. Whether Jonathan Kuminga gets traded or not may depend upon another free agent's decision. Golden State Warriors fans are on the fence as the team waits for Al Horford's free agency decision. The front office is waiting patiently, knowing Horford's choice could change everything about their next move, including what happens with Jonathan Kuminga. With the veteran big man likely leaving Boston, the Warriors are interested, and this has Kuminga's future hanging in the balance. There's nothing near the finish line on the Jonathan Kuminga front as the third night of free agency wraps, per sources. Anthony Slate of The Athletic reported on X, conversations ongoing with Warriors and several teams on periphery. Warriors also waiting on Al Horford decision. There's nothing near the finish line on the Jonathan Kuminga front as the third night of free agency wraps, per sources. Conversations ongoing with Warriors and several teams on periphery. Warriors also waiting on Al Horford decision. Why Al Horford's decision matters to the Warriors. Horford would offer the Warriors something they value and are missing. A steady, experienced presence in the frontcourt after losing Kevin Looney to New Orleans. If Horford signs, he'd join a core that includes Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, helping the Warriors stick with their win-now focus. Horford's recent run with Boston showed his value as both a floor spacer and a defensive anchor, averaging 9 points and 6.2 rebounds per game last season. He was also a key contributor during the 2024 postseason, where the Celtics went on their championship run. Golden State looks to be one of the favorites to land Horford in free agency. The Warriors have made him a priority and are pushing hard to get something done. Another option on the table for Horford would also be retirement, since he is 38 and has been in the NBA since '07. Jonathan Kuminga's future and trade implications. Kuminga's situation is complicated by restricted free agency and a slow market. He's improved his scoring over the past 2 years, despite his fit with the current Warriors roster remaining in question. The team isn't rushing to move Kuminga at this moment, but would likely jump on the right deal. Without clarity on Horford, it's risky to trade away a young talent who could still blossom. There's buzz about sign-and trades, draft picks, and multiple teams having interest, like the Miami Heat, Sacramento Kings, and New Orleans Pelicans, to name a few. If Golden State moves Kuminga, they want real value, preferably veteran help or assets that help now, not just picks for the future. The challenge is finding a team, or teams, with cap flexibility and assets that appease Golden State. What this means for the Warriors nation. The stakes are about as high as they get. Golden State is trying to squeeze one more title run out of their aging core, however, they cannot afford to lose depth. Every move needs to strengthen the roster now, without sacrificing too much of the future. Fans are aware that these decisions could define their team's title hopes for years to come. Horford's next step and Kuminga's trade status are tightly linked. This Warriors front office knows one domino will affect the other. As they wait, every fan will be intently locked in and closely scrutinizing these decisions that will shape the team's hopes for next season. Warriors poised to get the ultimate revenge on Jonathan Kuminga. What are they getting revenge for? I don't know exactly. Seems a little bit excessive, if you ask me. But that's just life for Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors' second timeline has had one last piece hanging on by a thread. That is 22-year-old Jonathan Kuminga. Since being picked in 2021, Kuminga's tenure has been streaky. And one time he had a bad haircut. While he is still regarded as a promising young player, he just never seemed to quite gel with the Warriors' scheme. I don't know. Maybe the Warriors are mad about that. The team that showed they were a few too many light years ahead to properly assess a prospect like James Wiseman might be a little bit pissy. It's nice the Valkyries exist now, but it's a rough time in the Bay Area. After all, it's been over 2 years since they won a championship. For lifelong Warriors fans who believe the team came into existence in 2015, that's just way too many. Counting goes like this. 1. 2. Too many. Someone has to pay for this. Kuminga. You're going to Sacramento. That's right, according to an NBC report, lifted and placed on Reddit, the Warriors, Kings, and Detroit Pistons are discussing a three-team blockbuster that would send Kuminga and veteran point guard Dennis Schroeder to Sacramento in separate sign-and-trade deals. For two franchises that seemed entirely moribund a dozen years ago, the peaks they have since reached really can't be compared. For championships versus the first playoff appearance in 17 years. Unanimous MVP versus Kevin Huerter had a good season one time. Star players moving to and from the team to help the greatest shooter of all time extend a championship window versus acquiring Kuminga gives us championship experience. It's not fair. So it goes. Let's all sing Kumbaya but replace it with Kuminga. It doesn't fit perfectly, but if you really insist on it and really go at it with confidence you can make it work. Ask my cat. I've been singing it to her while she sits on my right hand, making it nearly impossible to write this article. She seems happy. Maybe I should stop. If we're looking at this from a positive frame of mind, this could be the fresh start Kuminga needs. The game in Golden State was never going to be tailored to his talents. As long as Steph is there, Stephish things are going to happen. Split pick and roll, movement shooting, not a lot of breaking down your defender one-on-one. I think Kuminga likes doing other stuff. He will have way more space to do it in Sacramento. But if we're comparing situations as it relates to the quality of the basketball team next season, and the reliability of basketball decision-makers, and every team has this in some fashion, the specific blend of ugly ownership opinions, going from the Warriors to the Kings is kind of a downgrade. It's like when the food stamps run out and you go from the tastier brand of tomato sauce to the Kroger kind. I mean, it's still technically tomato. It's still technically an NBA team. He's going to be fine. But in one case you can go into the season thinking, we still have Steph, so we still have a chance to win it all. In the other case you're just making extremely mid-chili. I put beans in mine. I don't do most things Texas tells me to do, and I'm better off for it. So if this were to go through, you could see it as revenge if that makes you happy in some weird, gross way. Have fun navigating life with that kind of brain. I'd rather just think it's a deal that makes sense for all sides involved. The second timeline was entirely contained within the first. I think it's best just subsumed and forgotten. Warriors receive Al Horford update amid retirement decision. Even at 39 years old, Al Horford is one of the best big men remaining in free agency. The Boston Celtics center is coming off a season where he averaged 9 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.1 assists while shooting 42.3% from the field and 36.3% from three. There has been speculation he may retire, but Horford still has a strong market, as ESPN's Brian Windhorst confirmed on NBA Today on Wednesday that the Golden State Warriors and Los Angeles Lakers are interested in him, though that was before the latter signed DeAndre Ayton. Windhorst also added that Golden State, LA, or retirement were the decisions on the table for Horford. He won't be returning to the Celtics from the sounds of things. He has left the franchise before, as he left Boston to join the Philadelphia 76ers. At 39 years old, Horford likely won't get the same contract the Sixers gave him in 2019. Boston Celtics center Al Horford, 42, and forwards Jason Tatum, 0, and Jaylen Brown, 7, copyright David Butler 2 main images and hashtag 169, David Butler 2 main images. No matter how much he will sign for, Bill Simmons made it sound like Horford will join the Warriors in his latest podcast while talking with The Ringer's Rob Mahoney. When the two discussed Horford, Simmons was blunt. "Horford's going to Golden State," Simmons said when the Celtics center came up. Mahoney responded with, "That's basically treated as a foregone conclusion around the league right now. Everyone is assuming that Horford will be a Golden State Warrior, and we'll see if that ends up happening or not." In response, Simmons left nothing to interpretation, saying, "It's happening." The Warriors are in desperate need of a center, as they lost Kevin Looney to the New Orleans Pelicans this offseason. Also, they haven't had a floor-spacing big man since Maurice Spites last played for them in 2016. While retirement is seemingly a decision Horford is weighing, it seems Golden State has a spot for him should he choose to play another year.